In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, as well as discussing the latest breaking news. The world's largest bank, ICBC, says Bitcoin solves gold's problem of divisibility and inconvenient to carry. Preach. We'll also be discussing breaking news. Metaplanet rallies 10% as it scoops Bitcoin for a third time in the past 2 months. We'll also be discussing DeFi Technologies adopts Bitcoin treasury strategy. That's right. The public listed Canadian company announced the purchase of 110 Bitcoin and repayment of $5 million in debt by its subsidiary. We'll also be discussing US Bitcoin spot ETF Milestone of 25,729 BTC acquired in a week. Also, rich dad Robert Kiyosaki says Bitcoin is the easiest way to become a millionaire. We'll also be discussing PlanB issues bold prediction, predicting the Bitcoin price to reach a peak of $800,000 per coin next year in 2025. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show.
Oh my gosh, it's finally almost here. JV is going to talk to us. Crypto news is near. I can't stand waiting. There is no debating. I waited all day, maybe I need a life. But Bitcoin is all I can think about day and night. Hurry, JV.
Woohoo!
But I don't sweat it because it's just pathetic to let it get me involved in that sell on the dip crowd, sell on the dip crowd, dip sell, dope sell, no sell, no Bitcoin sell. I'm no sellout. Bitcoin. Roger out, Roger out.
If you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes and subscribe, and also hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. And if you can repost this and spread the word, I greatly appreciate that as well. Today is pod episode number 1667. I'm your host, JV. It is June 11th, 2024, and I'm rocking the 11 jersey. So happy 11/11, a divine omen out here in the crypto sphere. But anyways, we're having a bit of a correction today. Bitcoin down almost 2,000 on the day. Let's kick it off with our market watch, as we do each and every day. I'm going to pull up Coin 360. You should be able to see it here in your screen here in a moment. There you go. Now check it. We got Bitcoin hovering above 67,500 at the time of the live stream. Ether at 3,500. Solana, a big correction, down 7%, trading back under $149 as the majority of the entire alt market is correcting and in the red. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. We're sitting at a 2.4 trillion market cap. Yesterday was 2.55 trillion. So we are down 5% on the day with roughly 90 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance on the climb, which we love to see. It's currently 54.3%, with the Ether dominance holding on at 17.3%. My question for the broskies: how high do you think the Bitcoin Dom will likely climb for this particular cycle? Holla at your boy in that live chat. Also, shout out to CoinMarketCap. You notice they have a section here that says top community posts. Well, I am featured as one of the content creators on here, so if you can also follow me over on CoinMarketCap, look for crypto news alerts, the handle crypto news. Yes, I greatly appreciate it. We can use all the support we can get. And as you can see here, the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours, very modest gains as the majority of the market's correcting, but we do have Rose up 3.3%, Ondu up 3%, and the infamous Pepe up 2.6%. Below that, we got Stacks, AKT, and Leo. Now let me know which alts, if any, you're most bullish on for this particular bull. Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get a visual perspective of the market on the day and its total bloodshed. Virtually nothing in the green. You got like 2 out of the top 100 tokens even in the green, and virtually everything bleeding pretty badly right now. Minus Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin holds its own, only down 2.5% on the day. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, one of my favorite indicators. We're currently rated a 74 in greed. 7 plus 4 is 11. Just saying, divine omen, brother. Yesterday, 72. Last week, a 73. And last month, a 56 in greed. So there you have it. Crypto fam. Let me know where you feel the Bitcoin price action is likely to take us this week, this month. Holla. Let's continue with today's Bitcoin technical analysis, aka astrology for the broskies. As you can see in the headline, Bitcoin price hits new June lows while open interest stays above $35 billion. A mass cascade of longs have been liquidated, and it looks like there's many more that can potentially be liquidated. So here's the breakdown. Bitcoin dropped under 67,000 into the June 11th Wall Street Open as markets staged the classic pre-inflation report come down. As we can see here in the 4-hour chart, massive red candles, a little bit of a comeback here with a little green print, but nonetheless, we're just above 67,000 at this time. Data from TradingView showed new local Bitcoin price lows of 66.7 on Bitstamp. It's worse month to date. And keep in mind, we just had this strong, happy 420, by the way. We just had one of the strongest monthly closes in a very long time. I think the second strongest ever. Having dropped for almost 24 hours in a row, Bitcoin failed to buck the trend on the day as risk assets prepared for a deluge of U.S. macroeconomic data and the Fed commentary. Now down roughly 3% on the day, Bitcoin fielded various downside targets from traders, these extending towards 60,000, quoting popular trader Roman, getting closer to support. We'll be looking to enter longs if a reversal presents itself. Ultimately, I've been eyeing the 67,000 support for over a week, so it is about time. We're getting close. Let me know if you agree. And we have a fellow trader, Castillo, who agreed, focusing on a slightly lower buy zone at around 64,000, 3,000 less than where we're at. Quoting him here, we knew some downside was possible on the biddies. Was hard to open up fresh longs above 70,000. Now we're getting into an area I am more willing and comfortable looking to add. Others called for calm amid the overall range-bound price action, with Bitcoin consolidating below the all-time highs for nearly 3 months. Quoting popular trader Jelly. Week 15 of chopping below the current all-time highs. We are off to a red start this week, pushing back into the key support level at 67.5. Maybe uncomfortable, but nothing has changed. Don't get shaken out. That's right. Sage advice there. And Scott Melker also said, much ado about nothing. The decent drop today, but simply testing support at the range EQ. Still trading in the top half of the range, 3 months into the predictable chop that comes into this part of the cycle. Now, meanwhile, open interest presents high-risk situation. A note of caution came from market observers monitoring the open interest on the derivative markets. That's right. This hit new all-time highs in June, passing $37.6 billion, and what has traditionally been a classic warning of the Bitcoin price volatility. That's right. Bitcoin futures open interest decreased as the price retreated. Data from CoinGlass showed, as you can see here, but still currently remains above 35 billion. And quoting Philby from Decent Trader, price flat, open interest up 1.5 billion. This is a high-risk situation, and he contributed what he called the worst-case scenario for Bitcoin, this including a downside wick to as low as $45,000 per biddy. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. Now, in other breaking news, the world's largest bank, ICBC, has said Bitcoin solves gold's problem of divisibility and inconvenient to carry. That's right. Do you hear that, Peter Shifty? What he's ultimately needs to get through his thick skull is 1 Bitcoin can be divided by 100 million Satoshis. Try doing that with gold. And also, of course, try taking a gold bar with you overseas on a plane. And they will probably confiscate it if it's valued at more than $10,000. Welcome to precious metals family. There is no comparison between the precious metals and the biddies. Just saying. But let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss this Japanese company by the name of Metaplanet stacking up more biddies. In fact, headline reads, Metaplanet rallies 10% as it scoops Bitcoin for the 3rd time in 2 months. That's right. Shares in Asia's MicroStrategy Metaplanet surged double digits on Tuesday after the company disclosed another $1 million Bitcoin purchase, its 3rd in 7 weeks. A company statement on June 11th announced today revealed the firm bought 23.25 biddies worth almost $1.59 million, bringing its total holdings to 141 Bitcoin valued at $9.6 million at an average purchasing price of 10 million Japanese yen, which is roughly $65,300 per biddy. This puts Metaplanet at a gain of 4.5% on his Bitcoin investment at Bitcoin's current price of 68.3, according to CoinGecko. Now, investors appear to be liking the move, with Metaplanet stock rallying almost 11% to 92 yen, which is roughly 60 cents, before cooling off to 89 yen, which is 57 cents, by midday on the Tokyo Stock Exchange today, June 11th, according to Google Finance. The firm has seen its stock soar nearly fivefold since it unveiled its Bitcoin investment strategy on April 9th, 2024. Speaking about game theory, if you're a stock, you may want to also put some Bitcoin on the balance sheet, because you're going to get the support from the entire Bitcoin community. You're going to get the publicity, and more than likely you can blow up and grow fivefold, which is 500%, which is 5x as well. Its first Bitcoin purchase was back on April 23rd for 97.8 Bitcoin, followed by an additional almost 20 Bitcoin on May 10th, according to the Bitcoin treasuries. It is now the 30th largest corporate holder of Bitcoin in the world. And similar to MicroStrategy, the largest corporate Bitcoin shareholder, Metaplanet iterated on May 13th that it'll adopt an entire range of capital market instruments to bolster its Bitcoin reserves. The firm adopted the strategy to hedge against Japan's worsening debt burden and the quickly depreciating Japanese yen. No brainer. Japan's debt to gross domestic product ratio is 261%, the worst amongst developed countries, according to Metaplanet. The yen has fallen almost 35% against the US dollar since January of 2021, while Bitcoin is up nearly 200% against the yen over the past year. However, it is still far below the Bitcoin holdings of Michael Saylor's run firm, which currently holds 214,400 Bitcoin, amounting to 1% of roughly the 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist in circulation. So that's right, MicroStrategy already has 1% of the Bitcoin supply. Metaplanet is currently only available on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, which restricts access to U.S. investors, but efforts are being made to change that. Now just think hypothetically, if that did get if United States investors got access, or people from all over the world, to this particular stock, just because Bitcoin is on the balance sheet, I think they'd be bullish. Let me know your thoughts, family. I believe adopting Bitcoin to the balance sheet as a treasury reserve asset can only help, in my humble opinion, because look at all the companies who have done that thus far. Clearly, DeFi Treasury. That's right. Headline reads, DeFi Technologies adopts Bitcoin treasury strategy. The publicly listed Canadian company announced the purchase of 110 biddies in repayment of $5 million in debt to its subsidiary, Valor. That's right. Breaking news just in. The publicly listed exchange-traded product provider and venture capital firm announced its decision to adopt Bitcoin as the company's primary treasury reserve asset. In its monthly corporate report, the company also announced that its subsidiary Valor repaid $5 million in loans and currently has $607 million in assets under management as of May 31st of this year. Following the announcement, the price of DeFi Technology shares rose on the Canadian Stock Exchange and the United States over-the-counter exchanges. Its shares are currently trading at around $1.57, not too shabby, up from the previous trading sessions of $1.16 to $1.40. And just look at those candles, looking pretty lit right now. The shift in treasury strategy marks yet another instance of a publicly listed company embracing Bitcoin. I refer to this as the game theory. It also highlights the broader trend in institutional adoption of the decentralized currency. On, for example, May 28th, shares of Semler Scientific shot up by more than 30% after the NASDAQ-listed company announced the adoption of Bitcoin as its primary treasury asset and the purchase of 581 Bitcoin, valued at $41 million. Are you starting to notice the trend? Anyone who adopts Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset or puts the Bitcoin on the balance sheet, their stock increases. Are you starting to see the bigger picture? Game theory. Every company in the world should be putting biddies on the balance sheet. I digress. Government institutions are also now actively exploring Bitcoin as a portion of their investment portfolios and treasury assets. Earlier in May, the state of Wisconsin Investment Board, Wisconsin's pension fund manager, announced it had $164 million in exposure to Bitcoin ETFs. Let's go. I mean, there's a lot of states in the United States. There's 50, is there not? That's just one. Now, what would happen if all the other states followed in their footsteps? Again, another example of the game theory. Japan's government pension investment fund, the world's largest pension fund, also recently launched a research project with a 5-year window to explore how digital assets like Bitcoin and traditional precious metals like gold can figure into the investment portfolio. And although the growing institutional interest in Bitcoin is difficult to quantify, Bitcoin ETF data may serve as a proxy for gauging institutional sentiment towards the asset. And according to recent data from Huddle 15 Capital, Bitcoin ETFs have already accumulated 2 months of Bitcoin supply minted through mining activities in the first week of June alone. Let that one sink in, fam. So you already know institutional FOMO, like a mofo, and game theory. Let's go. So let's just dive right into the next story. Let's discuss this massive ETF milestone, yo. Headline reads, U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs accumulate 25,729 BTC in a single week. Let that sink in. Almost 26,000 Bitcoin in 1 week. That's right. Amid the broader wave of increased adoption and acceptance of Bitcoin, Bitcoin US spot ETFs in the past week acquired 25,729 biddies. Whoa. This development is consistent with the current patterns in which significant financial institutions and businesses have begun to accept the asset, thereby strengthening its standing with the international financial system. We have popular trading platform and analyst 2BTC reported the developments on X. He shared, considering the current mining rate of roughly 3.125 BTC per each block, this enormous stockpile is equivalent to roughly 2 months worth of newly mined Bitcoin, with inflows reaching over $1.83 billion. And 8 plus 3 is an 11, another divine omen, family. Happy 11/11. The increase in ETF holdings is indicative of investors' rising faith in Bitcoin's long-term worth and ability to act as a hedge against volatile economic conditions. It also illustrates how Bitcoin is becoming more widely accepted and integrated into traditional financial products, bridging the divide between conventional finance and the developing digital asset market. Furthermore, 2BTC noted the acquisition represents the largest weekly purchase since March. And note, that was when we hit the current all-time high of 73,800. That was back in mid-March, and is nearly equal to the total amount of the crypto's asset purchased in May. And following the launch of the products, which officially went live January 11th, another divine number, approved ETFs have had net inflows of a whopping 15.69 billion, despite large withdrawals from GBTC, aka Grayscale. So there you go. It's been officially 5 months since these ETFs went live in the United States. Today is June 11th. This was all happening back on January 11th, and they've accumulated a massive amount of Bitcoin. BlackRock's IBIT ETF currently has the largest Bitcoin holdings for a spot Bitcoin ETF and is now the largest holder of Bitcoin in the world, thus the biggest asset management company in the world. BlackRock collected an astounding 304,976 BTC, valued at approximately $21 billion from their exchange fund. This enormous investment demonstrates BlackRock's belief in the long-term prospects of the digital asset and the expanding institutional interest into cryptocurrencies. That's mind-boggling, because let this sink in. It took MicroStrategy back in 2020, they put the Bitcoin on the balance sheet. It took MicroStrategy 4 years to achieve 214,000 Bitcoin. BlackRock just did 305,000 roughly in 5 months. Is mind-boggling, yo. So given the company's substantial holdings, they may help Bitcoin gain more traction and recognition in the general public as the crypto industry develops. In addition, with the support of such a prestigious financial firm, the crypto asset appears to have a bright future. You can say that again. It doesn't take BlackRock to recognize that, for Christ's sake. Hey, we got to front run those mofos, just saying. It is important to note that Bitcoin has become a significant player in the entire digital asset investment products market. Inflows into digital asset investment products reached a whopping 2 billion, raising the total of the last 5 weeks of inflows to 4.3 billion. Also, ETP trading volumes, which are exchange traded products, increased to about 12.8 billion for the week, which is a 55% upsurge over the previous week. Meanwhile, with almost 2 billion worth of inflows for the week, Bitcoin was once again the main focus. Now, 2BTC also underscored the Ethereum, witnessing 69 million net inflows during that period, making it the strongest week since March. This is most likely due to the unexpected decision to permit spot Ethereum ETFs by the US SEC. And rumor has it, we may be seeing these ETFs actually being launched as soon as this month in June, now that they got the official approval by the regulators. But let me know your thoughts on that. crypto fam. Next story of the day, we're going to discuss Bitcoin becoming a Bitcoin millionaire as per rich dad Robert Kiyosaki. Then we'll be discussing the latest from PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model, and his 800,000 Bitcoin price prediction for this particular cycle peak, ultimately hinting at a super cycle. And then we'll do our live Q&A. But first, this got my attention. Yesterday, Kiyosaki tweeted, "Bitcoin is the easiest way to become a millionaire." Let me know if you agree with that. Making millions as an entrepreneur is hard. I know. You have to be really smart, dedicated, and lucky to become a millionaire starting your own business. I save Bitcoin because Bitcoin does the hard work for me. That's why I love Bitcoin. And this got massive love, almost 800,000 views, 10,000 hearts, 1,600 retweets. I even retweeted it with like the love emoji. And I respect Rich Dad. I remember reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Why We Want You to Be Rich, and many of his books back when I was a young entrepreneur. And I've learned a lot through Rich Dad. So here's the latest from Mr. Robert Kiyosaki on becoming a Bitcoin millionaire. I already read for you the tweet, so let's dive deeper into this article. You should be able to see it up on your screen. Quite a number of Kiyosaki followers agree with his stance on Bitcoin. An ex-user mentioned that one feature of Bitcoin is that is usually overlooked is its decentralized and secured nature. Quoting the guy here, its transaction ledger is immutable, meaning it cannot be altered or tampered with. That's right. That's one of the many benefits of using Bitcoin. It's immutable. Now, Game of Trades, a data-driven investment research entity, also outlined Bitcoin's long-term potential, pointing out that Bitcoin has remained an undervalued asset, particularly in the times of increasing currency debasement. Facts. Noteworthy, Kiyosaki's post highlights the potential of cryptos over several traditional investments like gold and silver. He once condemned the conventional model of earning money from regular jobs, citing that the value of money earned this way was designed to be stolen through taxes and inflation. And he ain't telling no lies. In his defense, Kiyosaki lauded cash flow assets like rental properties, oil, and food production as a better way to earn tax-free money. And aside from the potential to turn hodlers into millionaires, the renowned author perceives Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation and the economic crisis in the United States. That's right. If you have no faith in the leadership of the United States of America, you should have a fat bag of Bitcoin and be continuing to stack them sats, because this is absolutely a hedge against the U.S. government and inflation, hyperinflation, and economic crises. You know what I mean? Kiyosaki reckons that the U.S. market collapse could be so big it may deteriorate into a war, leaving Bitcoin as the only way for people to protect themselves from the accompanying economic challenges. He casted blame on President Sleepy Joe, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, calling them the Three Stooges. I couldn't agree more. Move over, what is his name? Mo, Larry, and Curly, move over. We got the new Three Stooges in the house. Jay Powell, Yellen, and Biden. Yeah, let's throw the fourth stooge in there, Senator Elizabeth Warren. Now, Kiyosaki is very optimistic on Bitcoin's potential as a financial instrument. At the time he wrote that, Bitcoin was trading at 67,300, and he also sees Bitcoin reaching 100,000 by the end of June, which he also shared on X, which we covered here on the show. Let me know if you agree with that bullish prediction. $100,000 by the end of this month. And more daring, a few weeks after his 100,000 prediction, he also forecasted Bitcoin can hit 300,000 per coin by the end of this year in 2024. That's double the bullishness of PlanB predicting us hitting 120,000 by the end of the year. Kiyosaki said, yo, we're heading for 300,000. Quoting him here, Bitcoin on fire. The biggest mistake you can make is to procrastinate. Important to start, even if only for $500. Next stop is 300,000 per biddy in 2024, said Kiyosaki. Now, Bitcoin is also touted as an alternative to the impending collapse of the US dollar. Kiyosaki cited the threat emerging from the BRICS nations, who are reportedly working on an alternative currency for cross-border settlements. So let me know with that your thoughts. Do you agree Bitcoin is the easiest way to become a millionaire? Do you think Bitcoin will likely hit 300,000 before the end of the year and 100,000 before the end of this month? Holla. Now for our featured story of the day. PlanB, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model, is predicting Bitcoin smashing 150,000 this year, end of the year. And next year, this same cycle, he can see Bitcoin hitting $800,000 per coin as per his latest post on X. So let's break this down for you. Let's start right with the tweet that sparked the controversy. He just shared this on June 10th, which was yesterday at 5:18 a.m. Already 737,000 views. He wrote the following: my best guess Bitcoin scenario for 2024 to 2028. 2024 end of the year, $150,000, which is 0.15 million. Now, this is what got our attention. In 2025, next year, same cycle peak is ultimately saying 0.8 million per BTC, which is $800,000 per Bitcoin. Then 2026 through 2028, he sees a correction of Bitcoin going down in 2026 to 400,000, which is half the peak target of next year. And then in 2027, dropping a little more to 300,000. And then in 2028, bouncing a little to 400,000. And this, I would assume, is pre-halving, as the next halving event is scheduled to take place probably sometime in March or April of 2028. Let me know if you agree or disagree with these predictions. Obviously, 800,000 stands out. There's not a lot of analysts predicting that high for this cycle peak. I'm in agreement that we see that cycle peak next year in 2025, as I've been calling here on the show for quite some time. My personal prediction for a cycle peak, which I believe will occur next year, just as PlanB does, is anywhere between 220,000, or I should say 222,000. That's the number I've been rolling with, all the way up to 750,000. So this is pretty much in alignment, just a little more bullish than my personal prediction. He also points out alongside the chart, this scenario that you can see in the pink dots would fit stock to flow 3 power law model perfectly and would be a bit higher than the 6 type power law model. So he's showing you the power law model right next to the stock to flow model, which do share some comparisons. Now, someone wrote 800,000 2025 need the market cap of 14 trillion, 10 times more than now. Is that realistic? PlanB responded, yes, 800,000 is a 16 trillion market cap, up 14 trillion from the current market cap. But remember that we do need 14 trillion inflow of new capital for the 14 trillion market cap. There is a factor, so we only need 1.4 trillion or even 140 billion worth of new capital. And some other recent tweets he shared. I like to use both the power law and the stock to flow. Both are just curve fits, charts below. Data supports both the high R2, but that will change. The power law equals diminishing returns. 210,000 top, 70,000 bottom. Stock to flow equals exponential returns of a 500,000 top with 100,000 bottom. No need to debate. The time will tell. Now, even Jurian Timmer, the head of macro over at Fidelity, chimed in regarding PlanB's recent posts. Now, if you're not familiar with Jurian, he officially has one of the most bullish Bitcoin price predictions we have ever seen. Now, considering he works for Fidelity, one of the larger asset managers, which currently holds roughly $4.5 trillion in assets under management, he is on record saying the Bitcoin can hit $1 billion per coin by the year 2038. In fact, we've covered this prediction numerous times here on the channel. That's why I remember it so well. And he just recently wrote, below is the stock to flow for gold and for Bitcoin. While gold stock to flow has been stable over time at around 60, the stock to flow for Bitcoin has been rising exponentially. A big thank you goes to PlanB for introducing me to Bitcoin's unique supply dynamics. He also wrote, Bitcoin's future supply curve is coded into its structure. Growth rate is cut in half approximately every 4 years. So we don't know what gold's future supply looks like. I am amusing that gold stock to flow will remain around 58, given its stability. New production averaged 2% of outstanding supply. He also points out that, interestingly, we have arrived at the point in history where Bitcoin's stock to flow is surpassing gold's stock to flow. They are both around 57 and 58. He wrote this back in February of this year, just FYI. But that will change quickly with Bitcoin's next halving coming up this spring. And lo and behold, we got the halving on 4/19, right? And he also shared here in this chart, I line up gold and Bitcoin's market value vertical against the stock to flow horizontal. Now we can really see the exponential versus linear dimensions of Bitcoin versus gold. Some good insights there. And I'll read you one more of his recent tweets from February. The way I understand it, the stock to flow math holds that the price of Bitcoin experiences the same exponential increase with every cut in supply growth, the halving every 4 years. While that has been the case since Bitcoin's inception, I doubt this will continue in the same order of magnitude as we approach Bitcoin's hard cap of 21 million. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree with Plan B, as well as Jurian Timmer of the head of macro over at Fidelity. Now let's dive a little deeper into this particular headline. Plan B issues a bold prediction for Bitcoin, in which we just talked about that bold prediction being $800,000. According to Plan B, the Bitcoin price will close this year of 2024 trading at around 150,000, coinciding with exponential returns. And then he further noted the Bitcoin price will reach 800,000 in his best case scenario by the end of next year, 2025, after which the crypto analyst expects Bitcoin price to get trapped in a bearish outlook until 2028, until the time of the next halving. That's right. Specifically, Plan B believes the Bitcoin price will close 2026 trading around 400,000, in 2027 around 300,000, and about 400,000 in 2028, which is 0.4 million. Previously, the analyst pointed out that the power law, which emphasizes diminishing returns, has signaled a Bitcoin top of around 210,000 and a bottom of at least 70 Gs. On the other hand, the analyst has indicated the stock to flow model indicated a top of at least 500,000 and a bottom of over 100 Gs, baby. However, the analyst indicated that the figures are set to constant change depending upon the actual price in the coming months. So we'll see how that is likely to play out. The overall demand for Bitcoin has remained relatively high in the past few weeks, fueled by notable cash inflows into spot Bitcoin ETFs, as we noted earlier in the show. And according to on-chain data from Glassnode, approximately 22,600 Bitcoins worth 1.57 billion were withdrawn from centralized exchanges last week. We also have the recent approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs in Hong Kong, Thailand, and Australia, which have significantly improved the overall Bitcoin sentiments. Furthermore, the crypto regulatory landscape in major jurisdictions led by the European markets such as India and the US have signaled the inevitable mainstream adoption of digital assets as well as Web3 products. So let me know your thoughts regarding Plan B predicting end of the year this year. We would see a Bitcoin price all-time high of 150,000, and next year for 2025 a whopping almost $1 million price, which I believe if we did, hypothetically speaking, hit his peak cycle high of 0.8 million per coin, then we're clearly going to hit 1 million easy peasy over the next few years. Let me know your thoughts on all of that and all of this, and I'm going to read these comments out loud. Whew, that was a mouthful. Let's hope Plan B is right. That would be superb. Amen, Ricky. We all praying he is right. 100% with you on that. I'd like you all to know that I'm okay with 800,000 Bitcoin by 2025. I can deal with it. Amen. Almost $1 million per biddy. It just sounds sexy. I'm just saying. 1 million per biddy, bro. F a roaring kitty, a boring kitty. We got Nipsey. $1 million biddies. Just saying.